I'm going to show you how to put up a hammock with a sling. When I first bought my hammock, it came just with a small single bit of rope. So as a climber, I had lots of slings, and they are so much easier to put your hammock up with. So first of all, I've got this this sling. It is 240 millimeters long. I also have our shorter one, which is 120 millimeters long. The longer ones are better because you can do lots of different things with them. Okay, so first of all, we're going to use this tree. It is nice and strong. Give it a wee push, make sure it's nice and safe to use. What we'll do first is we'll sling it around. When you're using a hammock, you'll have this the joining part of the sling. Make sure that is nowhere near where you put any knots or where you're clipping into. This is the weaker point of it. Okay, so the easiest option is you put it around, you put it together, and then you clip your hammock into it. Okay? And although it might look loose and stuff, once you've actually got some pressure in your hammock, it's actually going to stay nicely in place. But this tree is a bit small, so what we're going to do is we're going to make it even more secure. We're going to wrap it around another time. Now, it's a little bit trickier. You kind of have to get the ends at the same point. So literally I've just wrapped it around twice. We want to get the ends at the same place. So we want to just feed this end around a little bit. Gently pulling it until you got the ends in the direction you want. And again, you clip it in. Screw it up if you've got a carabiner. Give it a squeeze, make sure it's shut. And you see how that is so much more secure. It's not going to be moving around too much. And you can rest assured in your hammock that it's nice and secure. Alright, I've shown you how to just wrap the sling around, which is definitely the most easiest option, but depending on the sling size and the tree size, sometimes you need something that's a little bit more adaptable in size. So we'll go back to the sling option where we just put it around the tree, just like that. And now sometimes you need that length to make it a little bit more secure. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to put a knot there, and that will hold it more in place so it doesn't move around too much. Okay, so again, I've got this bit, the joining of the sling. I don't want it there, so I'm just going to pull one of the other ends around just so it's on the back of the tree. Find the two ends. Okay. Alright, find the two ends again. Pull it in the direction that you want it to go in, nice and tight. And you want to keep those ends really firmly together because we want them at the end. So we'll bring our hands all the way up, like that. And then easiest option is we're just going to do an overhand knot. Okay, so that's pretty much, you just make a loop, like that. You make a loop and you bring the ends through that hole. Simple like that. Bring it tight. Find the ends. Make sure the ends are still together. One's not longer or shorter than the other, they're both the same length. The hammock into it. Screw it up. And there we have it, another way of connecting our hammock. Now, I said this is going to be a bit more versatile in its length. What we can also do, if we've used this knot, we can also clip our carabiner in there. Screw it up, and that is also a nice firm solid placement. It's hugging the tree nice and tightly so it's not going to be moving around too much. And the beauty of this is you can put that knot here or here or here. You can change that knot placement and have it so it's the length you want it to be. Once you've got that attachment like that, the knot, you don't really want to put all the weight where the knot is. What you want to do is just roll it around so it's at the back of the tree, and then just pull it in the direction you want it to be going in. And again, that is quite flexible because you can change the direction of where that tree is, just in case you've not got it quite right. The other thing to add, make sure if you put your hand there, you've got at least that much left from there to there of the knot. because the knot does have a tendency just to open up a little bit, but the overhand knot is the best one for not moving. A figure of 8 does tend to move when you open it up in that direction. Okay, so just an overhand knot around the back of the tree, and off you go. So for those who don't have a sling, which I would recommend over the rope, I'm going to show you what I think is probably one of the best rope techniques to put your hammock up. It requires a knot called a double figure of 8, which you can Google online, but I'll show you how to do it here as well. So you've got a length of rope. This is about 4 meters long. You can have it longer if you want it to be more versatile. Hold it in one hand, okay, and you want to stretch it out until it reaches to about your shoulder. This is the bit we're going to use to make that knot. Okay, where it is up here, we're just going to make a bend, okay, and just hold it together. Okay, so a bend in the rope. Again, about that length long. Okay, next. Okay. Close to the end, where the end of the rope is, we're going to make a loop. Okay, so just a normal loop. This end with the loop in it is going to go all the way around. All the way around. And when it's kind of started to go all the way around, okay, this end is just going to tuck and get pulled through the middle of the O. You pull it all tight, and what you should have is a figure of 8. You see how it looks like a number 8 coming out. Okay, so we've got a figure of 8 in that. We also want to put the exact same thing in the other end. So you need to repeat the process. Okay, figure of 8 to your shoulder. Make a loop. So that's just a little twirl of the rope. Get the end, wrap it all the way around just once. If you end up with an overhand knot, then it just means you have to just loop around. If I just went through there now, that would just make an overhand knot. So you've got to go all the way around and then back through, pull it through and pull it tight. And again, just make sure you've got that figure of 8 sort of shape going on here. Put it around the tree. We've got 2 different ways. Okay, pretty much we just loop it around, get the 2 ends, pull tight. That's like the easiest option. Okay, but again, it can move around a little bit, so a better option is you actually put a whole knot through the loop. The biggest one, choose the biggest one, put the whole thing through, pull it tight, and what that's going to do, a bit of a cow's tail type knot, it's going to pull tight and be really snug around the tree, pulling tight, and then attachment point for a hammock. You do it up, check it's done, and there we have a really good strong hammock attachment point. Now, and if it takes 1,000 lives, then it's worth fighting. So another sling option is very, very simple, not so good for adjustments though, but if you've got a couple of different size slings then it works really well. So you get your sling, just flip it around the tree, stick in the tree, a little bit of love to the tree. Get the ends, and what we're simply going to do is we're just going to put one end through the hole of the other one. And the one that you put through, that's the one you hold on to. You can let the other one go. Pull it tight, just nice and gently so we don't damage the tree. And there, we've got a nice clinched around the tree and a perfect loop for attaching your hammock. Perfect. So we've got our hammock put up, we've pushed down on it a little bit, made sure our height is going to be appropriate. I quite like mine quite close to the ground because I like to swing, so having it close to the ground allows you to push with your hands, or you can just get a little stick if you want to get a bit higher up. The last thing we need to do is look after our trees. Now these trees, especially these ones in pine, the bark is quite flimsy, the bark comes off really easily, so we don't want to be damaging this stuff. So what I've got is a little bit of material. You can use a bit of carpet or even a jumper, anything that will protect the tree. Okay, so if you come around, the stress points are going to be at the back of the rope, so we just pop this around. And there we have a nice tree protection there. So as you can see, I'm using a big carabiner, a screw carabiner, this metal thing here. Now that's because I just bought a cheap hammock. It was, you know, probably only £15 or so. And the carabiner that they gave us is so small, so thin. After a little bit of extra stressing, I think a friend of mine tried to get in the hammock with me. You can see how it's just starting to bend and warp and get misplaced. So I quite early on used this carabiner. Sadly I couldn't undo my knot, so that has to stay, because I couldn't get it out at all. But I think that's still strong enough. It's held me tight on plenty of times, and I just so much more secure in my hammock knowing I've got this big metal carabiner rather than the cheapy one that came with it. Oh, let me get a swing. Nice gentle swing. And now we have a nicely attached hammock with an easy push.